Peremptory, final, undeniable or unopposable, dictatorial. Perennial, lasting all through the year, lasting a long time. Perfidious, treacherous. Perforce, necessarily. Perfunctory, without care, superficial. Perigee, the point nearest the Earth in an orbit. Peripatetic, moving or walking about. Periphery, the boundary of something, the perimeter. Perjury, telling a lie under oath. Permeable, able to be passed through. Permeate, to pass through, to spread through. Permutation, a complete change. Pernicious, deadly. Perpetrate, to do something bad. Perpetual, eternal. Perquisite, a benefit in addition to one's regular pay, prerogative. Persiflage, a light style of talking, banter. Perspicacious, keen, acute in judgment. Pertinacious, persistent. Pertinent, relevant. Perturb, to upset or alarm. Peruse, to study, to read casually. Pervade, to spread throughout. Perverse, wrong or corrupt, perverted, stubborn. Perversion, an abnormal form, a twisting or distortion. Pervious, able to be passed through or penetrated, open-minded. Pessimist, one who looks on the dark side and expects the worst. Pestilence, an epidemic, anything harmful. Petrify, to turn to stone, to harden, to stun with fear. Petulant, pert, irritable. Phalanx, military ranks in close formation, a group of individuals. Philander, to carry on light love affairs. Philanthropist, one who gives money to help others. Philistin, a narrow and conventional person who ignores the arts and culture. Phlegmatic, sluggish, calm. Phobia, an irrational, unwarranted fear of something. Physiognomy, one's face and facial expressions. Pied-spotted. Piety, truthfulness to religious duties, devotion to family. Pillage, to loot or plunder. Pious, devout. Piquant, sharp or biting to the taste, stimulating. Pique, to offend or provoke. Pithy, meaningful, concise. Pittance, a meager amount. Placate, to pacify. Placid, calm, quiet. Plaintive, mournful. Plait, to plead or braid. Platitude, a dull or commonplace remark. Platonic, intellectual or spiritual but not sexual relationship. Plaudit, applause, an expression of approval. Plausible, apparently true. Plebeian, a common man. Plebiscite, a vote by the people on a political issue. Plenary, full, complete. Plenipotentiary, a man who has full power as a governmental representative. Plethora, excess. Plutocracy, government by the wealthy. Poach, to trespass, to steal. Pogrom, a systematic persecution or killing of a group. Poignant, sharply affecting the senses or feelings. Politic, prudent, crafty. Poltroon, a coward. Polygamy, having more than one husband or wife. Polyglot, speaking or writing several languages. Pommel, the knob on the end of a sword or on a saddle. Pompous, stately, self-important. Ponder, to consider carefully. Portent, to foreshadow. Portent, an omen. Portly, stout. Posit, to place in position, to set forth as fact. Posterity, all future generations. Postprandial, after dinner. Potable, drinkable. Potentate, a ruler. Potential, possible, latent. Potpourri, a collection of varied things. Poultice, a hot, soft mass, sometimes put on sore parts of the body. Practicable, feasible, usable. Pragmatic, practical, dealing with daily matters. Prate, to chatter. Precarious, uncertain, risky. Precedent, a legal occurrence that is an example for future ones. Precept, a rule of conduct. Precipitate, to throw downward, to bring on. Precipitous, like a precipice, abrupt. Preclude, to make impossible, to prevent. Precocious, developing earlier than usual. Precursor, a forerunner. Predatory, living by robbing or exploiting others, feeding on other animals. Predicate, to state as a quality of someone or something, to affirm. Predilection, a preference. Predisposed, to make receptive. Preeminent, better than others in a particular quality. Prefatory, introductory. Prelude, opening. Premeditate, to think out ahead of time. Premise, a statement on which an argument is based. Premonition, a forewarning, a foreboding. Preponderate, to sink downward, to predominate. Preposterous, absurd. Prerogative, a right or privilege. Presage, to warn, to predict. Prescience, foreknowledge. Presentiment, a premonition or foreboding. Presumption, taking something upon oneself without permission, forwardness. Pretentious, claiming greatness, showing off. Preternatural, abnormal, supernatural. Prevaricate, to avoid the truth, to lie. Primordial, existing from the beginning, original. Probity, honesty. Proboscis, a long snout, a nose. Proclivity, a slope, a tendency. Procrastinate, to delay or postpone. Prodigal, wasteful, generous. Prodigious, wonderful, huge. Profane, non-religious, irreverent. Proffer, to offer. Proficient, skilled. Profligate, immoral, wasteful. Profound, very deep. Profusion, a great abundance. Progenitor, a forefather. Progeny, children or descendants. Prognosis, a forecast. Proletarian, a worker. Prolific, producing a lot of children, fruit, or ideas. Prolix, wordy, long-winded. Promontory, a headland. Promulgate, to make known. Prone, lying face downward, disposed to do something. Propagate, to breed or reproduce. Propensity, a natural tendency. Propinquity, nearness, kinship. Propitiate, to appease. Propitious, gracious, boding well, advantageous. Proponent, one who puts forth an idea. Propound, to propose. Propriety, suitability. Prosaic, commonplace. Proscribe, to outlaw or forbid. Prosody, the study or the art of verse or versification. Prototype, a model. Protract, to prolong. Protrude, to stick out. Protuberant, sticking out. Provident, providing for future needs. Proviso, a condition that one must meet. Provoke, to excite, to anger. Prowess, boldness, skill. Proximity, nearness. Proxy, a person who acts for another. Prudent, careful, wise. Puerile, childish. Pugnacious, quarrelsome. Puissant, powerful. Pulchritude, beauty. Pulmonary, pertaining to the lungs. Punctilious, careful about detail, exact. Pungent, sharp, biting. Punitive, pertaining to punishment. Purloin, to steal. Purport, to claim. Purveyor, one who supplies. Purview, scope, range. Pusillanimous, timid, uncourageous. Putative, reputed. Putrid, rotten, stinking. Quack, one who practices medicine without training, a charlatan. Quaff, to drink. Quagmire, a bog, a difficult situation. Quail, to lose courage. Qualm, a sudden ill feeling, a sudden misgiving. Quandary, a dilemma. Queasy, nauseous, uneasy. Quell, to subdue, to quiet. Querulous, complaining. Query, a question. Quibble, to object to something for petty reasons. Quiescent, inactive. Quietude, quiet, rest. Quintessence, the most perfect example. Quip, a witty remark. Quirk, a twist as of luck, an evasion, a peculiarity. Quixotic, like Don Quixote, romantic and idealistic. Quizzical, comical, teasing, questioning. Rabble, a mob, the masses. Rabid, violent, fanatical. Raillery, satire, teasing. Raiment, clothing. Ramification, a branching, a consequence or result of something. Rampant, growing or spreading richly, wild and uncontrollable in behavior. Rancid, spoiled, as stale fat. Rancor, hate. Rankle, to provoke anger or rancor. Rant, to rave. Rapacious, greedy, predatory. Rapine, taking away people's property by force, plunder. Rapprochement, a bringing together. Rarefied, thin, refined. Ratiocination, reasoning. Raucous, loud and rowdy. Ravage, to ruin. Ravening, look greedily for prey. Ravenous, extremely hungry. Rebate, to return part of money paid, to deduct from a bill. Rebuke, to scold sharply. Recalcitrant, stubborn, hard to handle. Recant, to take back a belief or statement. Recapitulate, to summarize. Recidivist, one who falls back into crime or other bad behavior. Reciprocal, done in return, occurring on both sides. Rescission, the act of rescinding. Recluse, one who lives apart from others. Reconcile, to bring together again, to make consistent. Recondite, not understandable by most people, obscure. Reconnaissance, looking over a situation to get information. Recourse, turning to. Recreant, cowardly, disloyal. Recrimination, answering an attack by attacking in return. Rectify, to make right. Rectitude, moral uprightness. Recumbent, lying down, resting. Recurrent, happening again one or more times. Redolent, sweet-smelling. Redoubtable, fearful. Redress, to rectify. Redundant, more than enough, wordy. Refection, refreshment. Refraction, the bending of a light ray or sound wave. Refractory, stubborn. Refulgent, shining. Refutation, disprove. Regale, to entertain with a feast. Regeneration, renewal, rebirth. Regime, a system or period of government. Regimen, a system of diet and other physical care designed to aid health. Regressive, going backward. Reimburse, to pay back. Reiterate, to repeat over and over. Rejuvenate, to make seem young again. Relegate, to send away to someplace. Relevant, pertaining to the matter in question. Relinquish, to give something up. Relish, to enjoy. Remediable, curable, correctable. Reminisce, to remember. Remiss, careless in one's duty. Remission, forgiveness, a letting up. Remnant, remainder. Remonstrate, to protest. Remunerative, profitable. Render, to give over, to give up, to cause to become. Renegade, one who gives up his religion or cause and joins the opposition. Renounce, to give up a right, for example. Renovate, to renew. Reparable, able to be repaired. Reparation, a repairing, making up for a wrong. Repartee, a clever reply, clever conversation back and forth. Repast, a meal. Repercussion, an effect of an event. Repertoire, the selection of works a performer or group is prepared to perform. Replenish, to refill. Replete, full, stuffed. Repository, a place where things are kept. Reprehensible, deserving criticism. Reprieve, a postponement of punishment. Reprimand, a formal rebuke. Reprisal, force used in retaliation for an act by another country. Reproach, to make someone feel ashamed. Reprobate, a person of no principles. Reprove, to rebuke or disapprove. Repudiate, to disown, to deny. Repugnant, contradictory, offensive. Requiem, a mass or music for the dead. Requisite, required. Requite, to return or repay. Rescind, to repeal an order. Resilient, elastic, buoyant. Respite, a delay, a let-up. Resplendent, splendid. Restitution, restoration, reimbursement. Restive, balky, unruly, restless. Resurgent, rising again. Resuscitate, to revive. Retaliate, to return injury or evil in kind. Retentive, holding, able to remember. Reticent, speaking very little. Retinue, a group of followers or attendants. Retort, to answer in kind, to reply sharply or cleverly. Retract, to take back. Retribution, just punishment or reward. Retrieve, to recover something, to save. Retroactive, applying to the past. Retrograde, going backward. Retrospective, looking backward. Revelry, merrymaking. Reverberate, to echo. Reverie, a daydream. Revert, to go back to a former state. Revile, to abuse, to scold. Revoke, to withdraw, to rescind. Revulsion, a sudden change in feeling, disgust. Roomy, watery. Ribald, vulgar, coarse. Rife, occurring everywhere, plentiful. Rigor, strictness, exactness. Robust, healthy and strong. Rococo, an elaborate architectural style. Roseate, rosy, cheerful. Rote, routine. Rotund, rounded, stout. Rubicund, reddish. Rudiment, a basic principle, a first stage. Rueful, pitiable, mournful. Ruminate, to ponder. Rummage, to search through. Ruse, a trick. Ruthless, cruel. Sable, black. Saccharine, pertaining to sugar, too sweet. Sacerdotal, priestly. Sacrilegious, in violation of something sacred. Sacrosanct, holy, not to be violated. Sadist, one who gets pleasure from hurting others. Sagacious, perceptive, shrewd. Sage, wise. Salacious, lecherous, pornographic. Salient, leaping, standing out, prominent. Saline, salty. Sallow, having a sickly, yellowish coloring. Salubrious, healthful. Salutary, conducive to good health. Sanctity, holiness. Sang-froid, coolness, calmness. Sanguine, blood-colored, cheerful and optimistic. Sapient, wise. Sardonic, sarcastic. Sartorial, pertaining to tailors or clothing. Sate, to satisfy completely. Satiate to glut. Saturate to soak. Saturnine gloomy. Savant a scholar savoir. Fair tact. Savor to season, to taste or smell appreciatively. Scabrous scaly, improper. Scapegoat one who is blamed for the wrongs of another. Scathing harsh, biting. Schism a split. Scintilla a tiny bit. Scintillate to sparkle, to show verbal brilliance. Scion an offspring. Scoff to jeer at. Scourge a whip, a punishment. Scruple a qualm or doubt. Scrupulous very careful in doing what is correct. Scrutiny close inspection. Scurrilous course, vulgar. Scuttle to scurry, to sink a ship, to abandon a plan. Sebaceous pertaining to fat. Secede to withdraw. Secular worldly. Sedate calm, serious. Sedentary sitting much of the time. Seditious pertaining to revolt against the government. Sedulous diligent. Seethe to boil, to foam. Seine a fishing net. Seismic pertaining to earthquakes. Semantic pertaining to meaning. Semblance appearance. Senile showing mental deterioration due to old age. Sensual pertaining to the body or the senses. Sententious pointed, full of trite wordings. Sentient feeling, conscious. Sepulchre a tomb. Sequester to set apart, to withdraw. Serene calm. Serrated, having notches along the edge. Servile slave-like. Sever to separate, to cut in two. Shackle to hold back, to restrain. Shambles a slaughterhouse, a place of disorder. Shard a broken piece of pottery. Sheath to put a knife or sword into its covering. Shibboleth a phrase or a practice that is observed by a particular group. Shoddy cheap, poorly made. Shunt to turn aside. Sidereal pertaining to the stars or constellations. Simian pertaining to monkeys. Simile a figure of speech that compares things by. Simper to smile in a silly way. Simulate to pretend or fake. Sinecure a job that requires little work. Sinister threatening, evil. Sinuous winding, devious. Skeptical doubting. Skittish playful, jumpy. Skulk to slink. Slake to satisfy. Slatternly dirty, untidy. Sleazy flimsy as a fabric, cheap or shoddy. Slothful lazy. Slough to shed, a swamp. Slovenly careless or untidy. Sluggard a lazy person. Sobriety soberness. Sojourn a temporary stay. Solecism a misuse of grammar, a breach of manners. Solicitous expressing care, eager. Soliloquy a talking to oneself. Solstice the point at which the sun is farthest north or south of the equator. Solvent able to pay one's debts. Somatic pertaining to the body. Somnambulism sleepwalking. Somnolent sleepy, making one sleepy. Sonorous rich and full sound. Soothsayer one who predicts the future. Sophisticated urbane, not naive. Sordid dirty, ignoble sobs. Spasmodic intermittent. Specious appearing correct but not really so. Spectre a ghost. Spectral ghostly. Splenetic bad-tempered. Spontaneous arising naturally or by its own force. Sporadic occasional. Sportive playful. Spurious false, not real. Squalid filthy, sordid. Squander to waste. Stayed sober. Stalwart sturdy, brave, firm. Stamina endurance. Stark prominent, barren, blonde. Status position or state staunch. Stanch to stop blood flowing from a wound, to stop or check. Stellar pertaining to the stars. Stentorian very loud. Stigma a sign of disgrace. Stilted elevated, pompous. Stint to hold back in distributing or using. Stipend a salary or allowance. Stoical showing no reaction to various emotions or events. Stolid unexcitable. Straight a narrow waterway, a difficult situation. Stratagem a scheme or trick. Striated striped or furrowed. Stricture censure, a limitation. Strident, having a harsh or shrill sound. Stringent strict. Stultify to make stupid, dull, or worthless. Suave urbane, polished. Subaltern a subordinate. Subjugate to conquer. Sublimate to purify. Sublime exalted, grand. Suborn to get someone to do something illegal. Rosa in private. Subsequent coming later. Subservient servile. Subsidiary supplementary, secondary. Subsidy a grant of money. Subsistence a means of providing one's basic needs. Substantiate to confirm. Subterfuge any means by which one conceals his intentions. Subtle thin, characterized by slight differences and qualities, not obvious. Subversive inclined to overthrow or harm the government. Succinct clear and brief. Succor to aid. Succulent juicy. Suffuse to spread throughout. Sully to soil. Sultry hot and close. Summation adding up. Sumptuous lavish. Sunder to split apart. Sundry miscellaneous. Superannuated too old to be of use, outdated. Supercilious haughty. Superficial pertaining to the surface aspects of something. Superfluous more than the amount needed. Superlative of the best kind, supreme. Supersede to take the place of. Supine lying on the back. Supple flexible. Supplicant one who prays for or asks for something. Surcease an end. Surfeit to provide too much of something, to satiate surly. Surmise a guess made on the basis of little evidence. Surreptitious secret. Surrogate a substitute. Surveillance a watch over someone. Sustenance maintenance. Sybaritic loving luxury. Sycophant one who flatters to gain favor of important people. Sylvan pertaining to the woods. Symmetry balance. Symposium a meeting for the exchange of ideas. Synchronized to regulate several things so they will correspond in time. Synopsis a summary. Synthesis a putting together. Synthetic not natural, artificial. Tacit unspoken, understood rather than declared. Taciturn reluctant to speak. Tactile pertaining to the sense of touch. Taint to infect or spoil. Talisman a charm supposed to have magic power. Tangible touchable, objective. Tantamount equal to. Tantalize to tempt someone with something he cannot have. Tautological employing needless repetition of an idea. Tawdry cheap and gaudy. tawny tan in color, tedious, tiresome, temerity, foolish boldness, temperate, moderate, template, a pattern, temporal, temporary, worldly, tenacious, holding fast, tenet, a principle, tentative, proposed but not final, hesitant, tenuous, thin, slight, tepid, lukewarm, termagant, a shrewish old woman, terminal, pertaining to the end, terrestrial, earthly, pertaining to land, terse, concise, tertiary, third, testy, irritable, theocracy, rule of a state by God or by God's authority, therapeutic, curing, thermal, pertaining to heat, thespian, pertaining to drama, an actor, thraldom, slavery, throes, pangs, thwart, to obstruct or prevent, tirade, a lengthy, violent speech, titanic, huge, tithe, a tenth of something, titular, pertaining to a title, in name only, toady, one who tries to gain another's favor, sycophant, tomahawk, especially a large one, torpid, dormant, slow-moving, tortuous, twisting, devious, toxic, poisonous, tract, a stretch of land, tractable, easy to manage or control, traduce, to slander, trammel, to confine or entangle, tranquil, calm, peaceful, transcend, to go beyond, transcribe, to write out in one form from another, transgression, a breaking of a rule, a violation of a limit, transient, not permanent, transition, a change from one thing to another, transitory, fleeting, translucent, allowing light through, transmute, to change from one form to another, transpire, to become known, transverse, lying across, trappings, one's clothes and equipment, trauma, a severe injury or shock, travail, hard work, pain, traverse, to go across, travesty, a burlesque, a distortion of something, treatise, a formal, written presentation of a subject, trek, to travel slowly, tremor, a trembling, a vibration, tremulous, trembling, afraid, trenchant, keen, forceful, trepidation, uncertainty and anxiety, tribulation, great unhappiness, a trying circumstance, tribunal, a law court, trite, overworked, no longer novel, troth, truth, one's word, as a promise, truckle, to submit and be servile, truculent, cruel, rude, truism, a statement that is known to be true, trumpery, something pretentious but not worth anything, truncate, to cut off part of, truncheon, a club, tryst, a meeting, tumid, swollen, inflated, turbid, muddy, dense, turbulence, a state of commotion or agitation, turgid, swollen, pompous, turncoat, a renegade, a traitor, turnkey, a jailer, turpitude, vileness, tutelage, care, guardianship, tyro, a beginner, ubiquitous, omnipresent, ulterior, on the far side, later, beyond what is said, ultimate, the farthest, final, or highest, ultimatum, a non-negotiable demand, umbrage, offense, unadulterated, pure, unanimity, agreement, unassuming, modest, unbridled, uncontrolled, free, uncanny, strange, weird, unconscionable, done without applying one's conscience, uncouth, clumsy, not having culture or polish, Unction ointment, an intense manner of behavior, unctuousness. Unctuous oily, displaying fake religious feeling. Undulate to move in waves. Unearth to dig up. Unequivocal clear. Unfaltering unhesitating. Unfathomable not understandable. Ungainly awkward. Unguent and ointment. Unimpeachable undoubtable, above reproach. Unique unlike any other. Unkempt untidy. Unmitigated unrelieved. Unprecedented never having occurred before. Unremitting not letting up. Unruly unmanageable. Unseemly not proper. Untenable unable to be held. Unwitting unconscious, unaware. Unwanted rare. Upbraid to rebuke. Urbane polished and refined. Usurp to take by force. Usury lending money at outrageously high interest rates. Utilitarian useful. Utopian idealistic, perfect. Uxorious overly fond of one's wife. Vacillate to move one way and then the other, to waver. Vacuous empty, stupid. Vagary a peculiarity. Vainglorious vain and boastful. Valiant brave. Validate to confirm legally. Vanguard the group in front. Vapid dull. Variegated, having a variety of colors and splotches, diverse. Vaunt to boast. Veer to change direction. Vegetate to have a dull, inactive existence. Vehement, having great force or passion. Venal bribable. Vendetta a feud. Vendor a seller. Vengeance punishment, revenge. Venerable old and honorable. Venerate to respect deeply. Venial forgivable. Vent to allow steam or feelings to escape. Veracious truthful. Verbatim word for word. Verbiage wordiness. Verbose wordy. Verdant green. Verily truly. Verisimilar appearing to be true. Verity truth. Vernacular the common speech of an area or its people. Versatile changeable, adaptable. Vertigo dizziness. Vestige a trace. Viable able or likely to live. Viand something to eat. Vicarious substitute, done or experienced by one person through another. Vicissitudes changes. Victuals food. Vie to compete. Vigilant watchful. Vilify to slander. Vindicate to free of blame. Vindictive seeking revenge. Virile manly, masculine. Virtuoso a skilled performer. Virulent deadly. Visage one's face. Viscid sticky, viscous. Viscous sticky, viscid. Visionary like a vision, unrealistic. Vitiate to spoil or debase. Vitriolic bitter. Vituperation harsh language. Vivacious lively. Vivid lively, intense. Vociferous loud. Volatile turning to vapor quickly, changeable. Volition employing one's will. Voluble talkative. Voluptuous sensual, inclined toward luxury. Voracious greedy. Votary one who has taken a vow, a follower or supporter of a cause. Vouchsafe to grant. Vulnerable in a position to be attacked or injured. Waggish playful. Wave to give up a right, etc. One pale. Wing to decrease. Wanton morally loose, unwarranted. Warranty a guarantee. Wary cautious. Wastrel one who wastes money. Wheel welfare. Wheedle to coax. Wet to sharpen. Whimsical fanciful. With the least bit. Wily sly. Windfall a surprising bit of good luck. Winnow to pick out the good elements or parts of something. Winsome charming. Witless foolish. Witticism a clever remark. Wizened withered, dried up. Want accustomed. Wraith a ghost. Wreak to allow to be expressed, to inflict. Rest to take away by force. Wry twisted, stubborn. Yeoman a man who has a small amount of land. Zany clownish, crazy. Zealot one who is extremely devoted to his cause. Zenith the highest point. Zephyr a breeze. Zest spirited enjoyment.